They just learn to fight. We'll keep climbing up till we touch the sky. Hotter than the sun, we keep burning bright. Higher than the moon, we always rise. We always rise.
to you, I lose control. Your touch is fire, it takes my soul. In your side, I feel the truth, I fade into you.
All right, guys, what is going on? Welcome to the live stream chat. Welcome. Hopefully you guys came ready to learn something today. It's a good day. It's a good day. It's never a good day to do paperwork. And I gotta go do a bunch of paperwork. So, still not as bad as the dentist, but paperwork just sucks, man. You know? Ugh. I hate it with a passion. I'd rather just, I don't know, shoot myself. What's good? Eberneth, Adam, Slowly, Mo, Felix. Yeah, what a title. Yeah, it's something I hear on social media. Most quotes are pretty trash, but I figured this one was all right. So I stole it. What's good? Capitalist, Mark, Julius, Akil, Jay-Z, Torty, Roberto, Mark, Eric. Was at the dentist today. Ooh. And my teeth hurt all of a sudden. What's good? Marshall H. Man. No, dude. We don't mess around when it comes to the fake doctors. I mean, the dentist. We don't play. You know? Y'all know what I'm saying? So, anyway, I was in our chat earlier, and someone had said they had shit, who is that? Joseph with the gifts. That is pretty funny. Someone earlier said that they had not hit TP for a couple weeks, bro. And that's not good. That is not good. And then we got TradingView that printed a Godzilla candle. I don't know if you guys saw that on ES. That was nothing short of rambunctious. We went from 76,000 to 7,050. So we had a 600-point move. Just a big old Godzilla candle for some reason. So that was obviously a TradingView glitch. But now someone said that they had not, I cannot talk. They did not hit a TP in the last couple weeks. So I wanted to discuss that, obviously. And, hopefully you guys get some value. I hope so. We'll see how it goes. But let's discuss it. Okay. So in our Discord, if you're not in, you're a goober. Congratulations. But in our general chat, I did post 3 different PDFs. One of them was the weekend reflections. It's been a long time since we went over that. I also posted The Obstacle is the Way, a brief discussion on something, probably trading psychology. That's a long title. And I also posted The Inner Game of Trading, which was very similar to The Inner Game of Tennis by W. Timothy Galloway, which you probably haven't read because you guys suck. But, I think those PDFs are very helpful. They're very helpful. So when it comes to reviewing your trades, right? Thank you, Capitalist. I'm glad somebody, there's one person that listened. We got almost 200 members, but like maybe 3 people actually listen to me. That's nice. So for you 3, when it comes to reviewing your trades, right? One of the best videos that I think that I did in this matter, or in this regard, was the feedback loops video. Do you guys remember the video on feedback loops? Drop a 1 in the chat if you guys remember that. It was a pretty short video. It wasn't super complicated. I think that was a live stream that I ended up clipping and then uploading that. So I think there's actually 2 of them. I could be wrong. That is always on the table, chat. Oh yeah, that was like a month ago. Oh yeah, you definitely remember that then. It was a stream we did, feedback loops for traders. And that's very important. It's very important. Right? Going over the details. Going over your own analytics. Do you guys remember that? Mo remembers. Roberto remembers. Slowly said a little bit. Get out of my chat. Capitalist remembers. Felix remembers. Jay-Z. Sorry, I'm tired, guys. I'm on a little bit more bullshit today than normal. Sorry, I'm just having fun. But the main thing, okay, and this is true for the technical analysis side, and I feel like I keep repeating myself. You have to get into the details, okay? You have to get into the details. There are buttons in my Corvette that I still do not know what the button does. I don't know what it does. I'm scared to press it. It might blow up. I'm not sure. Right? But when it was cold as shit, I had to open up that manual. I said, okay, which button is it for the seat warmers? And then I also found out that I had a steering wheel warmer button. I said, my, this is bougie, but I'll take it. And that shit works. Right? So now my ass is hot, my hands are hot, and all is well. But I had to get into the details. I had to get into, you know, what the buttons mean, what the symbols mean. And it's the little circle with the wavy shit on it for heating the steering wheel. It works. It's the ejectocito button. Yeah. That was like the last Fast and Furious movie that was actually good. Everything else is shit. Rest in peace to Paul Walker. But my point is, when you don't know something, you need to figure something out. You have to look it up. When you read a book, you guys don't read, but if you ever get around to reading a book and you don't know the word, right? What I typically do is I circle the word, and then I'll either finish the sentence or the paragraph, maybe, unless I decide to stop right then and there and go, okay, what is this word? Let me pause for a second. Let me go look it up and see what that means. That's the only thing I disagreed with, or one of the few things I disagreed with in Mortimer J. Adler and Charles Van Doren's book, How to Read a Book. They're like, oh, just read it all the way through, and then when you read it a second time, fuck a second time. I want to look it up right now. I'm not reading every book I have twice. I just don't have time for that. This book's a little dated, right? So you have to look up what words mean. You have to look up what symbols mean, okay, to fully understand the message. So when you look at the charts, right, I have given you details for everything. There is not one thing that I've left out. You know why the market goes lower. You know about breakaways. You know about inversions. You know about balanced price ranges. You know about mitigations. You know about pools of liquidity. I went over this shit yesterday. The inversion after the mitigation. That could be its own model too. You know why price expands fast, retraces slow, and then expands fast again. This is shit expansion, but the 15-minute kind of smooths it out, but that's still pretty trash. But I'm saying, you know, all of the reasons why the market does what it does. You know why it consolidates to build liquidity. You know why it trades away, right? To again build those stops, build stops. You know it's going to build stops. Yesterday was a little weird to me, but not imperfect. And you know when you start seeing signatures that it's not bearish, it's going to be bullish, right? And so you may not catch this low or right after it, or you probably don't want to chase this, but that next retracement or just after it, right? You remember this reaccumulation here and that inversion right there? And that was something that was pretty fucking awesome yesterday, right? Right here. Bang. And it did the same shit today. The same shit. Mitigation here. Inversion right there to go higher. It did the same thing. The same fucking thing. The time frame might be a little bit warped. The meaning like it may have taken like 1 or 2 extra candles or whatever. The range might be a little bit different. The timing might be a little bit different. Like it might not be exactly at 9:40 yesterday and today, but when it comes to the candles and the models in order, it's doing the same things. You will not know that until, number one, someone like me points it out to you, or number two, you find it out through self-discovery, which is difficult because most people don't even know what to look for. And when they do know what to look for, they don't know how to put multiple concepts together. It's very difficult. And again, I just want to drive this point that you have to get into the details. When did the market make a low? Why did it make a low there? When did it make a high? Why did it make a high? You know, where does price retrace to? Where does it trade to? Where does it go to? All that type of stuff, right? So for the person that was like, oh man, I haven't had a TP in 2 weeks. First of all, that's fucking crazy to me because I've called out so many levels for you. But even if you're like, okay, well, I don't want to listen to anybody else and I just want to become independent, like John says, okay, well, that's fine too. But you are doing at least one thing wrong or multiple things wrong. And it's okay. I'm not perfect either. Okay. And it sucks when you go on a losing streak or you go on a break-even streak or maybe a mix of both, you know, and it just seems like it's so much easier to take a loss and it's a lot harder to take a win. That's what it feels like. That's what it seems like, right? But until death, all defeat is psychological, right? So you have to look at it and go, okay, did I get out too early? Did I not re-enter? Did I get the bias wrong? Did I get the direction wrong? Did I get the timing wrong? You know, was I right in the direction but wrong on the time? Did I have too tight of a stop loss and got stopped out premature? Did I go break even too quickly? Like, these are all the things that you should be looking at if your results are, you know, struggling in that manner. Okay. Now, I'm not saying every single day, like, oh yeah, you got to hit a banger home run, you know, 30,000 pips, like the MLM days, right? A little 15-minute candle, we're up 30,000 pips. Yeah, okay. Right, all this marketing bullshit. I'm not saying you have to trade every day, bro. But what I'm saying is, look, do the math. If I have told you since the beginning, right, there are at least 2 to 3 trades, setups, 2 to 3 every week, right? No matter what. Bank holiday on Monday, there's still going to be 2 or 3 trades the rest of the week. CPI on Wednesday or whatever, Thursday morning or something, there's still going to be trade opportunities. So to me, okay, 2 weeks have gone by. If you haven't hit a TP, then yeah, something is wrong, right? But because that list is so long, I don't know what that is for you. And this is where, like, you gotta kind of, you know, meet me halfway here and do that work. Do the work and figure it out. Okay? I mean, I've given you the information. I've given you what to look at, what to look for. And you just have to go and see what it is that you're doing wrong. Spiked up nearly 50% this week. That's a lot. That's a lot. So anyway, what other questions do you guys have today? In your analysis, okay, meaning you go through your analytics, you go through your trading journal, which you don't fucking write one, so you don't know what to look for, and you wonder why you are struggling. If you don't journal your trades, I can't fucking help you. And you can't help yourself. That's even worse. But if we go back to first principles for a minute, the mental model, right? First principles. If we go back there for a second, one of the first principles, right, is the successful traders trio. That was the first lesson I ever gave in person, like with a microphone in front of a bunch of people. I was so nervous I didn't even want to stand on the stage. I was walking around. All right, I was nervous as fuck. But I went over the successful traders trio, which is technical analysis, risk management, and psychology. Those are the three. You might be good at technical analysis. You might not be good at risk management. You might be good at technical analysis. You might be good at risk management. You might not be good at psychology. Maybe you're anxious. Maybe you're nervous. Maybe you're tired, right? Maybe you sleep in a lot. I don't know. I wouldn't know. Right? Maybe you have an ego. That's definitely a possibility. Right? Hopefully I don't lead by example there. It's one way to lead, I guess. But whatever it may be, okay? Whatever it may be, that's something that you have to look at. You remember I made that video recently too on the mind map? And I gave you that little paper and said, hey, you know, write out this, that, and the third, and the branches and all that. Yeah, you said fuck that video too. So. Oh, well. I asked in the Discord, but I'll ask here, says Roberto. I know we had downside objectives today. Yeah, for me personally, I shared that too. I'm like, downside is all I care about today. And then I just looked around, and that's why I sent you that gif of Squidward packing up his shit, packing up his chair and leaving, because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be a part of this. I didn't want to force anything, so I was like, yeah, this sucks. But could an argument be made that because we crossed 50% of the current range, that price would continue to go higher? I know it's hindsight since we did, in fact, go higher. So I think you were here a few minutes ago when I said the same setup occurred. Now, the pools of liquidity were different, but the same setup still occurred. So what I mean is, I went over this pretty in depth yesterday. This was a reaccumulation, right? Because we had these up candles, traded outside, into, left it, into it again, left it, right? Resistance, as they say. Okay, so we trade outside of that. Now that we are back into it, right? This should be support, right? Yeah, it should be. So this ends up being reaccumulation. And since that is being respected, the very next, I mean, you could probably look at a 1 minute too, but like the last imbalance on the way lower gets traded through easily. I mean, it stood no chance, like no opportunity. It was like a one night stand. It just gave it up so easy. Okay, so sorry, but it trades into it right there. Bang, see that? So it's the inversion off the mitigation. It's the concept off of a concept, right? I forgot, what did we call that? Do you guys remember? Because like when it comes to the down candles, that's the propulsion. That's this, right? Like down candles that get traded through, and then we trade off of that. Any down candles that get created off of that, that becomes the propulsion. I know we talked about that before, right? What's the open on this? 535.75. What's the low on that? 535 even, right? So, oh, look at that. My propulsion model still fucking works. Weird. That's weird, right? Markets are changing though. 2026 isn't like 2025. That's what they say. But anyway, coming back to my point, I don't even know what we call this, but whatever this is, okay, the inversion off the mitigation, that happened here too. Okay. Right here. Now it's a little bit wider. I ain't gonna say it. But the low, high, lower, low, we rip through it. And this is Monday's high up here. So yesterday was equal highs, or low resistance highs and original consolidation. The pool of liquidity is different because now instead of equal highs, we just have like previous day high, unless you count 1 minute equal highs there if you'd like. I'll let you decide. Right? Bodies respecting that. That's not supply and demand. Still, you know, I don't know how many times we got to go over that. I'm just going to beat that drum because I'm an asshole. But again, same thing here. Down, imbalance on the way lower gets ripped through, and then the market what respects that to go higher. Down candles here as well. Down candle there. There's my propulsion right there. Bang. Look at that. See? So it's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. The models still go in order. Manipulate, mitigate, bullish order flow, or bearish order flow, given wherever the liquidity is at. So the issue that I have personally, like, it's the same as yesterday. Whenever I tell you guys, because you guys ask me sometimes, where do you draw your fibs? And for me, it's the same every time. It's manipulation to equal lows, or manipulation to equal highs, something to that effect. The low that's been set or the high that's been set. I like when it's manipulation, right? Like for example, this low, high, and then we get a V-shaped reversal, right? I'll touch on the phases of price a little bit as well. Try to give you guys some well-rounded education. See that? V-shaped reversal. We continue, and then retracement. So what's after that? Reversal, retracement, expansion. Okay. But because we sweep that, like I would trust that that's the low. But because when we zoom out a little bit, and it doesn't really matter how large you want to go in time frame, you know, 5 minutes zoomed out or like a 15-minute, it won't make a difference because these lows are still here. This, like, what type of low is that? You know, that's hard for me to trust. Like these bitches, all right? Hard to trust. So, sure, we crossed 50%, but like, what's the measurement? You know what I mean? What's the measurement then? It has to become pool of liquidity to pool of liquidity then. So we go into a discount, back into a premium, and then we end up getting into the discount end of the premium. Right here, right? The manipulation from the morning, like equities open, was back into the discount. Then we go to a premium, extreme premium in here. And then we go, again, the discount end of the premium is 50 to 75. So that's here. And that's where the mitigation is. And the inversion here is the discount end of the extreme premium. How about that? Yeah, your mentor never told you that either, huh? The discount end of the extreme premium. Yeah, your fucking goober ass mentor never told you that. So go watch the movie Inception and you'll really understand a lot of this stuff. Movie of the month, right? We got book of the month. We might as well have movie of the month too. Start with The Matrix. Gladiator. Wonderful. Russell Crowe. Like 40 years ago and 100 pounds lighter, right? Legend. And then go watch Inception. Then you'll understand how to trade. So ES professional accumulation against NQ manipulation to 840. Your time made me trust the low for higher pricing. Oh, well, that's probably true too. Yeah, you're sure right. You are sure right, my friend. 805 to 840. That's a good observation. See, this is why I ran out of energy drinks, dude, and I ended up grabbing Monster instead, even though Monster is like just water. It's like the Bud Light of energy drinks. It's not great caffeine wise. So yeah, I overlooked something like that. But that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. If ES is making a higher low, right? Propulsion here as well. And NQ makes that lower low, then yeah, you could use that as the low. But still, that measurement wouldn't make sense. I wouldn't have to use it. Like if that's my target and then this is the low that's set, that wouldn't make sense to me. I wouldn't draw it that way. Right? I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. So that's just not what I would do personally. But that's a great observation. Manipulation. What manipulates typically mitigates. Same stuff, different day. How's it different? The markets are constantly changing, bro. They might be changing for you. They ain't changing for me. So one of us has got to be lying. I'm the one that's out here proving it every week. So let's do some Sudoku and process of elimination. There may be a new Matrix. I hope they don't make another Matrix. They'll make everybody gay, dude. Don't want that personally. Sorry, this is personal preference. Okay, I don't want that shit. Okay, let me get back to what I was trying to say earlier before I went off on a tangent. When reviewing your trades, okay, or going through your feedback loops, right? Looking at your process, looking at the outcomes, right? Do you have a mindset problem, a money management problem, an analysis problem? You know, like what it is, I don't know. When it comes to analysis, at least, because that's obviously what we go over more than anything else, is the framework, right? So that's going to be your market maker models, you know, Wyckoff if you prefer that. It could be, I don't know what else it could be. That's the only framework that I use is market maker models. So outside of that, you're on your own. We don't really have that here. Not in electronic, at least. This you know what, this might be a stretch, honestly. This might be a stretch, but if we were to use this, like these lows down here, if we were to use that as the original consolidation, left it, well, technically we left it here, back into it, left it again, bullish until manipulation, it comes back into it again. And then there's your manipulation. So basically the assumption would be that this would be a sell model for those lows down here, but you can't really have the sell model unless you have the manipulation. So you would be bullish until manipulation. So like you would internally, you'd say, okay, this is going to sell off for these lows, but it's not going to do that until it takes this high. So it has to take this high first. So then you could be a buyer, you could go long until that high. And then after that, you could just wait. Okay, it might soup, it might not soup. You know, I don't know. ES might soup and NQ might not. Dow Jones, who fucking knows anything about that? You know, ES right here, that didn't meet that high. So now we have low resistance highs on ES. Yikes. Right? So this may be manipulation. That may be the low risk short to go lower. But I don't know, man. It feels a little bit forced because, again, that's in regular trading hours. But the electronic, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right, you know? It's one thing I can't teach you is vibes analysis, baby. I can't teach you that. Intuition, right? Vibes, good vibes, bad vibes. Can't teach you that. I don't know. Ask ChatGPT. How do I learn vibes analysis and technical analysis? See what it says. I don't vibe. Yeah. So again, it just feels like taking the sell model and going, okay, and just jamming it into the chart and being like, well, it's got to be somewhere. And that's kind of what it feels like. But that's like the closest thing to it. Consolidation, leaving it back into it, leave it bullish until manipulation. And then there's our manipulation. So now we might start trading lower. But if this is all-time highs, it's also a little bit tricky. I'd say to want to short right after all-time highs just printed. So hopefully does that make sense? Whoever asked me that earlier. Roberto, does that make sense? It's not always clean. It's not always perfect. It's not always chef's kiss. I wish it was. And there are times where it just does that so often, and the market just prints opportunities like a machine gun, and it's amazing. And then there are other times like yesterday where it's just a little bit more tricky, or like today. I wouldn't say this is impossible to trade, but if you don't like the conditions, nobody's forcing you to take a trade. You know, nobody's forcing you to press the button. So it's patience until something obvious. Or if you just want to trade every day and hopefully the math works out in the end, you know, if that's what you want to do, then you can go for that too, I guess. But so that's on framework. There is the timing aspect of it. I know I touched on this earlier, but maybe you're good in direction, bad on timing. You know, y'all have seen that. I don't time the market the greatest, especially when it comes to like really long-term stuff. I touched on that yesterday. With Microsoft, I don't know what day or month it's going to hit all-time highs again. I have no idea. On an intraday basis, I might, if I'm trading at, 9:30, 10 o'clock, I don't know if that's going to tag at the 11 o'clock macro, which it did here, right? Macros don't exist, but yet there it is. Again, fucking stupid, right? I don't know if that's going to hit inside of a macro, or like yesterday, I think it hit outside of a macro time. Hit at 12:25. I don't know. I don't always get that right. But maybe shit, I don't know what you guys do. Maybe you long this imbalance right here. Maybe you long that imbalance aiming for previous day's high, and the market went your direction, went closer to your TP than your entry, so you decided to go break even, not realizing that you're entering inside of the mitigation, which is still a good entry, but you had the earlier entry here, but smart money still needed the opportunity to get out of shorts. So the market had to retrace down to these levels here in order to give them, again, an opportunity to exit their shorts. So you might have broken even on that and went, oh, fuck, maybe we're going lower. And then you don't want to re-enter on this. And then the market goes to your TP. And now you're mad because, well, damn, man, I targeted that, but I got break even before I went up there. And now you're frustrated because you got it right, but you didn't make money. It sucks, I know. But that's why I try to give you guys as many details as I can. Why would that be a break even? I think it's decent money management because the market did make a new high, did, you know, surpass London's. I think that's London's high, right? And London shorts just got stopped out and breakout traders just bought. So now they're going to get in. But remember, buy stops might get triggered, but they hardly ever just go straight up. When people that trade breakouts like that, there's going to be that drawdown, that pullback to get them out. And so by the market doing that too, simultaneously getting out people that are trying to buy the breakout on strength, right? You're buying after like a 150 point move. That's fucking wild to me, without a retracement first, but whatever. That retracement is getting the breakout traders out. It's giving smart money an opportunity to exit their shorts that would otherwise be wrecked on the way higher. And it's just, you know, so you just so happen to be a part of that crowd where, yeah, you might have been in at a better price versus buying up here. You bought down here, but it's just unfortunate. Yeah, the market got you. You got out break even. So you didn't understand that, hey, we have an imbalance here and a second one down here. So the stop shouldn't have probably went break even. The stop should have stayed down here at the low end of the mitigation, at the low end of the breakout imbalance. And then you would have just had to say, oh, shit, we'll see. And then, bang, then you would have got TP. So that could be an impatience thing. Trust me, been there. That could be a analysis issue. Maybe you didn't see the mitigation. You know, maybe you didn't think about other traders buying the breakout and the market, you know, bullying them out. Maybe you didn't consider that. It happens. It's hard to think of everything at once, bro. This is why we have checklists, broski. Checklists. If you don't have, let me tell you this, okay? I really ought to clip this too. I forgot to record earlier. I think I was glitching out there for a second. I don't know if I said this earlier or not. I just now started recording. I could have recorded that whole thing today. There was some good clips in there. But here's the thing. As human beings, right, we have limited memory. Everything, like, we have limitations everywhere. We can only get so strong. We can only get so old, right? We can only know so many things. We can only recall so many things. And sure, there might be some geniuses out there. There might be some people out there that know how to memorize more stuff, you know, pretty quickly. I get it. But even then, there's still limitations, right? So in order to be more organized, we have to utilize checklists. You could have a pre-trade checklist or a pre-session day or whatever, right? Your entry model, market maker models, right? All that criteria stuff, the timing aspect, time, price, context, the law of high probability, all that. You could have the 48 laws printed off somewhere. I know some of you do, right? And that's what keeps you in line. It's like when you go bowling, right? I think bowling kind of sucks. I'd rather just have pizza and beer, to be honest with you. But, you know, when kids go out there, the parents set up the guardrails, right? Those bumpers. So that way the ball doesn't go into the gutter and it gets to the pin so little Johnny can have something on the scoreboard, right? That's what checklists do. They're the guardrails against us going into the gutter. Oh, I took a stupid trade. I missed this or over leveraged, whatever. You broke all these rules because you weren't even aware that you were about to do something stupid. Or maybe you did, but you did anyway. But the point is, a checklist is a guardrail against bad habits and forgetfulness. Checklists help me a lot. Feel like a doctor. Yeah. Or like a pilot. Or whoever. I personally, says Adam, have a laminated checklist from all your videos combined, and bro, that shit is worth a lot of money if it gets into the wrong hands. Look, man, information is information, okay? Information is relatively cheap. It's the implementation that people struggle with, okay? I could quite literally take 48 laws of trading, my 48 laws of trading, and I could make a book out of that, a 300, 400 page book out of that, and just sell it and make a fuck ton of money. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. First thing that's going to happen anyways, people are going to rip it, start making their own YouTube videos on my laws. So I do this stuff for you guys, man. You can hand it to your friends. You could share it with your mom or whoever. I don't care. Okay? I don't care. I want people to know this stuff. I want people to learn this stuff. But the right information in the wrong hands is still going to be worthless. You know what I'm saying? I could hand you an engine and say, hey, bro, break it apart, put it back together. You wouldn't know what to do. Now without the right information. But even if you had, even if I said, here's the manual, here's how to do it, it might take you a long time. And you might be like, no, I don't have any interest in it. I don't feel like putting in the work to break down an engine and put it back together. I sure as fuck wouldn't. Shit. Thousands of parts and oil everywhere and losing the wrenches and shit. Man, fuck that. Sounds frustrating. It's a lot of work. So, here's the thing. I'll probably say this in closing because I don't have anything else for you today, at least. I could go out to the public. I could go downtown. I could just print flyers and I could hand out everything I've given in the Discord. I could print off PDFs. I could give them, shit, that's what I do on my Instagram. Here's the 48 laws, minus like the charts and stuff, because I'm not doing that for you. But I'm doing it one at a time at least. But, here's how to think like a professional. Here's how to manage your money. Here's, some mindset stuff. Here's some concepts. Here's this, here's that. Here are the free live streams. Here's this. And most people would not care. They wouldn't give a shit. They wouldn't care. I could say, here are the market maker models. Here are the individual entry models. These entry models are in order, and this is how you find them in the charts, and you can make money doing this. And people would say, "Oh, I don't care. I'm good. I'm just gonna work my 9 to 5." You know, they're gonna look at. I mean, because think about it. It's just some boxes and a line and stuff. They don't know. They wouldn't know the value of something like that because they have nothing to compare it to. You know, the stuff that I was thinking about this the other day, and I really didn't want to say anything, but um, this stuff is very advanced, bro. There are people that have been following me for years that don't agree with me anymore. It's too advanced for them. It's too sophisticated for them. They don't get it. And it's okay. I don't expect everybody to get it. I don't expect it, bro. So, this stuff is more advanced than anything else that's out there. Okay? Even without indicators and fancy formulas and all that kind of stuff. Like optimal F's probably the furthest, extent that I'd go as far as like formulas, but you really don't even need that. But people just don't care. They don't care. Even if you showed them the right stuff. You know? People don't value which comes free or for pennies on the dollar. They buy expensive shit and get wrecked at last. Yeah. I feel that. I feel that. And that's why I park away from everybody. Because I know people don't value their own shit. So they're not going to value my shit. I saw some dude the other day, dude. And he pulled up in a Ferrari. Amazing. I mean, I rolled down my windows. I cut the music. I'm like, I got to hear this thing. And this guy like parked near the front, bro. Just in between all these other cars. So I was like, whoa, that's shocking. Because that Ferrari is easily worth more than my Corvette. So I was like, wow, that's crazy to me. But whatever. Whatever. All right. Well, if that's it, then we'll go ahead and cut it here, man. Y'all be good. Be blessed. Okay. Hopefully you learned something today. Drop a 2 in the chat if you guys learned something today. We went over feedback loops a little bit. If you've never seen that video, I think you should go watch it. We went over getting into the details, right? I think somebody asked earlier, and I just now remembered. They asked how to journal trades. I don't think it has to be as complicated as you think. Write out what you think. Well, we have equal highs down here, or equal highs up here. We have equal lows down here. We just had manipulation. NQ traded lower while ES is higher. Okay, this usually sets the low. So maybe the low's been set. I'm looking for a retracement. We haven't got one yet. Oh shit, here's a 5-minute mitigation. All right, I'm gonna take the mitigation. We have 2 imbalances, so I'll take the mitigation entry, but I'll put a stop at the breakaway imbalance. I'll target a 1 to 2 or a little bit over a 1 to 2. XYZ, okay, bang. And then, as it pans out, you can write out your emotions if you like, or write out your trade management ideas. All right, well, we had an inversion and now we're higher, so now I'm gonna go break even, or I'll put my stop at this low or whatever. Oh man, price is kind of meandering around. It's bullshitting. But it finally hits during a macro that doesn't exist, apparently. Right? And then, oh man, I feel so relieved. I'm finally out of the trade. I'm good to go. I can go relax now. I can go drop a like on John's stream. I can go watch the videos, or I can go read Book of the Month. Right? That's how I would start. But to me, dude, it's kind of like with reading. I think it matters less about what you read and more about actually reading, So you might be a shitty journaler but at least you're journaling. I would rather you journal like shit than to not journal at all. Okay? So don't try to be perfect. Don't try to not have spelling mistakes or, you know, drawing not looking good and all that stuff. We're not here to be artists, bro. At least on paper anyway. You know, we're definitely an artist on the charts, but we have tools for that. When it comes to pen and paper, just do your best. Just make it yours. Spill food stains on it. Sneeze on it, bro. You know, it's cool. It's just a notebook. It's just a journal. All right. So hopefully that helps. I will put out a market review later today. I will be back tomorrow on Wednesday the 3rd for another free live stream. And then that's it. So y'all be good, make good decisions, and I'll see you tomorrow.